Okay, well, it won't let me go live. So, if you saw my last Mandela effect video, you'd understand the whole premise of time travel when I was trying to explain time travel. If CERN had, in fact, um, came up with the concept of time travel, then they first started out with innocent things such as changing certain lines from movies and doing certain things. And then they tried to do big things such as save the President of the United States from getting assassinated, John F. Kennedy included, and then trying to change history altogether by, in fact, changing the birth of Hitler. And how they tried to do that is they took one of their scientists and a very extreme uh, experiment by making Hitler have a different father or maybe perhaps even a different mother. And how they did this was taking one of their scientists and saying, hey, why don't you guys go back in time and basically have sex with Hitler's mother and create a completely different Hitler than what was done in history, because they thought the idea of killing a baby would have been a little extreme and maybe kind of wrongish, if you know what I mean. And so they went back in time, and the whoopsie doopsie with Hitler's mother, and then Hitler became a baby and grew up and had green eyes or blue eyes, however you want to say it, and blonde hair or whatever, instead of having the dark hair and brown eyes, as history says that he had. However, my theory on this time travel experiment is that it went wrong because of, that's tea, by the way. This is non-alcoholic. I am a little drunk, so I am trying to chill out. But I think the reason why the experiment failed was because what they came up with was that you cannot change history. The history, and in fact all life as we know it, is in fact based on predetermined reality. What is predetermined reality? Well, to put it simple, it's fate. Fate is something that cannot be changed, rearranged, or otherwise reselficated in any way, shape, or form. Fate is something that is just, well, it's fate. In other words, whatever Hitler was supposed to do in the past is what he was determined to do, and how the outcome of that reality was supposed to be. So these time travelers, who I mentioned earlier in CERN, failed their mission, not because of a fault of their own, but what they found out was that fate is non-changeable, and no matter what you do in your past, cannot be changed. In other words, I had an uncle that was killed by a drunk driver. If I was to go back in the past as myself, as an 11-year-old boy, and try to convince my uncle not to take the car that night to go to his friends, and he had to get out that night and go help his friend 10 bar over at this place, and he would have still either done that, or he would have got killed either the next day or that morning. That drunk driver was still on that path. So no matter what I would have done, even if I would have hid the keys, my uncle still had his truck. There was other vehicles available. He had other friends. In other words, fate is fate. You cannot change fate. That is my theory. So, the two things they tried to do, they tried to stop the assassination of John F. Kennedy by changing it to from a four-car passenger vehicle to a six-car limo, and that didn't work. And then the second thing they tried to do is change Lee Harvey Oswald's killer to where he didn't show up at a certain time, but that didn't work either because he showed up at the exact same time, exact same place, exact same moment to kill Lee Harvey Oswald. The only difference being is that the cameras didn't get the precise view is what we got in our so-called alternate reality. Now that is theory number 2. Now either I have another vehicle. Now, either I have another video that explains theory number 3, or you have to stay tuned to see the conclusion of this trilogy. So, the theory, number 1 theory that everyone thinks of when they think of the Mandela effect is that CERN, in fact, was able to open up a parallel dimension. And this is a very questionable thing because they were very open about their smashing the atoms. Here's the portal. We've opened a portal. Would this not be number 1 news? Number 2, if it was a cover-up and they didn't want people to know that they actually were successful in opening up a parallel universe. Number 1, why? What would be their motivation behind this? Well, it could be to keep it from our enemies. If our enemies were to know that we had this power to open up a parallel universe, then our enemies could use this against us. Number 2, did CERN use a time machine or do a series of tests to operate a time machine and try to change the past? Number 3, a collection of consciousness. Are we to think these certain things, Curious George not having a tail, the Monopoly Man not having a monocle, were these just misremembrance? I don't think that they were misremembrance. The Ford logo not having a little swirly loop or the pigtail on the F. That one is very baffling to me. The 6-car limo in the I almost said KFC. The JFK assassination. That one's a little mythical to me too. I don't remember that. I remember it being a 4-car thing, and why was the most impressive evidence is what's her name? I can't think of her name right now. The actress that said, "You like me, you really like me." That was the sort of dagger in the back. That was the knife and stone, or whatever you want to call it, that grabbed me and said, "Hey, now wait a minute. This doesn't make sense." Sally Field, or rather Sally Fields, as we all remember her by, definitely said, you like me, you really like me, not you like me for now, you like me. That was the thing that convinced me to say, hey, wait a minute, something weird's going on. And the fact that her brother actually works at CERN kind of concerns me a little bit. It's a lot to think about. Is this just a coincidence? Or was this something that was part of the entire conspiracy? Did he change certain aspects of his life that kind of fucked with the space and time continuum? Or is this something that our collective consciousness just kind of went, hey, wait, Sally Field, not Sally Fields. Think about that for a minute. How many times have our parents or grandparents called Walmarts? We're going to go shopping at the Walmarts. Do you not remember people saying that? I mean, think about it. Really, really, really close. But that is not misremembrance to me. Sally Fields has always been Sally Fields to me. It's never been Sally Field. But here's the other flip of the coin. The other side of that coin is, wouldn't these celebrities who knew what their last names were? My last name is Sollami. And it's always been Sollami. And I know what my last name is and always has been. And there's no way on God's green earth that I would misremember that. These celebrities should, and I would think, would come forward and say, hey, wait a minute. No, that's not how you say my last name. This is my last name. And this bullshit about, oh, well, that they don't remember because that was the third dimension doesn't make sense to me. That's like watching a ghost video and saying, well, because that chair you saw in the video, the chair moved across the room, that's what the chair did. When in fact, there could have been multiple answers for that. We need answers. Did CERN create a dimensional portal? Did CERN create a time machine? And B, do we know about this time machine? Have scientists known about it for years? They've been hinting around it for years. They've been talking about Einstein's theory of time travel for years. Now, I want answers. And I think the scientific community owes it to us. They're always trying to prove the non-existent of God. Well, now they got to prove to me the existence of God. Why did the line change from the lion shall lay with the lamb to the wolf lays with the lamb? That does not compute with me, because the way I've heard it my whole life, and a lot of other people, not just me, the lion shall lay with the lamb. And it's not just them or me. It's still in a major motion picture. Well, maybe not a major motion picture, but a motion picture that, and it's still in there. Why is that line in there? We're talking about a Jesus movie. We're not talking about a made up bullshit, stupid, Apollo 13 movie, which is not made up bullshit, by the way. It's also based on the true story. So why is this supposedly been changed in the Bible? Now, I'm not a God, oh, the Bible this and the Bible. I don't know shit about the Bible. I'll admit that to you right off the bat. But I knew that line. I knew that line my whole life. And I know something is going on. And I want to know what. And I want to know what right now. And I think that the scientists at CERN and other scientists like Bill Nye the Science Guy and that Tyson, what's his face, owes us an apology. Or not an apology, owes us an explanation. Or at least speculation. You're a scientist. Speculate on something. Well, that's all the time I have for right now. My minutes has gone into almost 16 minutes. It has gone past the 16-minute mark. But I want to hear from you viewers. What do you think the Mandela effect is? Do you think it's blatant time travel and we're not meant to know about it yet? Is that something like the undersea exploration that Jacques Cousteau told us decades ago? There are things we were not meant to know. Remember that? When he retired, he had seen something that scared the fucking shit out of him. And that something a lot of people believe was the very existence of hell. And now we've got something that could very well either be time travel, collective consciousness of mass majorities, or an intergalactical cross-rip, which is binding several universes, not just two universes, but several universes together because of a collider, this huge collider thing that CERN has built. Now, I want everybody to weigh in on this subject. I want your answers. I want you to tell me what you think. And has that Chinese guy, that Momishimo, whatever his name is, has he weighed in on this? If you have a video of him talking about CERN or the Mandela effect, please let me know, because I would be very interested in this. I would like to know what major scientists like him and Tyson, I can't think of his last name. I guess that is his last name. I would be very interested to know what they feel about this subject. Because I'm going to tell you, I think we have traveled in time. That's my theory. And we have tried to change certain things. And then they tried to change major things, like Adolf Hitler and the JFK assassination. And they failed. And they failed because God, or even fate, which has not been scientifically proven, is something that is just supposed to happen. I want to know from you guys. Let me know in the comments section below. Thumbs up this video. And this is Hebro77. And I don't usually do these Mandela effect videos because I'm kind of on the fence about this whole Mandela effect, and whether it's real, whether it's fake, whether if it's scientific, because we haven't heard from the scientific community about this whole thing. But I do believe that there is something going on, and I want to know what, and I want to know why, and how, and who, and whatnot. So please thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you next time on another either Mandela Effect video or check out my action figure reviews. This is Hero77 saying, so long, everybody. Have a great weekend.